come with me as I recreate one of Beaux K's looks from one of her Instagram posts. Okay, so looking at their Instagram, I think I'm going to recreate this look. I don't know where the best spot is to kind of put it without the, lights, but I'm going to recreate this look. Mainly, this isn't meant to be shady, but it's quite simple, which is currently good for my skills. So yeah, that's the look I'm going to, aim to recreate. And a little bit about them. They're 16, which means they are Norfolk's youngest drag queen. They've got 116k on Instagram. I'm actually jealous. And about 120k on TikTok. And something I am actually jealous about is that Bimini, who was on Drag Race, follows them. I'm actually jealous about that. I'm not sure about any other Rue girls. Ella Day may follow them. I'm actually jealous of them. This video is going to be me talking about how jealous I am. But yeah, I'm going to firstly block my brows, put a wig cap on, and get rid of this jumper, and then I'll be back. Okay, put a wig cap on, blocked my brows, and took my jumper off. And now I'm going to start popping on some foundation. Can we appreciate that brow blocking? Because that is actually flawless. They've actually disappeared. Normally, I would do my face in two halves, but I'm not going to do that today, and there's a kind of key reason that I found in Beau's makeup. I found that their contour kind of travels around their face, so if I do half and half, it would kind of be really hard to mix them and blend them into that goodness that you see in their makeup. So I'm going to kind of finish popping the foundation all over my face, then I'll be back. Okay, foundation is now on, and I did set the bit under my lip, just the normal thing I do. To clear it up, I did prime my face. I don't think I said before, but I did. And now, looking at the reference photo, the reason I picked this one was because it kind of gave us a really good look. Let me turn the lights off. There we go. It kind of gave us a really good look at the contour on the forehead and cheek. So that is kind of why I took it. And another reason, okay, there we go. And why I kind of did my foundation all at once. So it just means I can blend it a lot easier. Wait, is this the right shade? Okay, I think it is. It just looks a bit darker. It is a new one I'm going to use, because if you don't know, I was running out. But anyway, I'm going to kind of start with, I'm going to kind of go here, a little, because I have realised that View's kind of cheek contour is quite strong. Now we just kind of need to get them even. There we go. And I'm going to go down here, kind of creating a curve, and then up on the forehead. Oh my god. Up on the forehead, this side. Don't worry about any lines currently, because we are going to blend them. Then down the cheek to the jaw. And yeah, so I always do my contour first because it is quite dark and it's easier to blend the lightness into it, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna start with the cheek, go to the head, then down. I'm not gonna make you watch that, but I'll be back once I've done it. It may be a bit hard to see, but we'll obviously go over with powder when it's that time. It looks darker on that side than it does this side. Weird. So now what I'm gonna do, because their highlighter is mainly in the centre of their forehead. Normally I put it up here, but theirs is quite down, lower than mine. So I'm just gonna pop this bit here, kind of dab it. And then I wouldn't say their cheek. It's slightly the same bit, so I'm gonna put less. So less there. Then, actually, before I do that, I am just going to add some to the nose. Add some contour, that is. Because I kind of miss that, like, every time I do one of these. So I'm going to add that to the nose. And then, instead of using the brightest concealer I have, I'm going to take one that is a shade darker. So this is shade 100. I'm going to take shade 104 and just kind of cut the jaw with it. So that is brighter, but not as bright as like the other parts. For now, I'm just going to help it blend out by putting that a little bit lower or around the highlighter. Because we want it to be quite smooth. So, like I did before, I'm going to blend it out, but I'm not going to make you sit here and watch it. So, I will be back. Okay, now that my kind of base is done, I'm going to start, like, setting the highlights and everything, and then moving on to, like, powders. So, I'm going to pack this under the eyes, mainly because I want it to be set, but we are going to have to, like, do it again in a bit, because when we actually do the eye makeup, we don't want any fallout to ruin it. But we're gonna do the first, like, setting on it. But yeah, so there's a little story I have with Beaux. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. It's actually weird to say. But yeah, so oh, okay. Yeah, so the story is that last academic year, I guess, I did an EPQ, which some of you may know about or what it is. It basically is like an extension on something that you're doing in another subject. So mine was to create a drag performance. It linked to obviously me doing drag and me wanting to continue drag in the future. But it also linked to my art because I'm looking at like more of the looks. But in my EPQ, I wanted to look at the performance side. So yeah, I'm now going to grab my powdered contour, which is the natural bronzer, and then just kind of dab this. Oh, have I lost my contour? No, found it. A trick to make it a lot lighter is that you can kind of put it on the sponge, dab it off. Oh, yeah, dab it off, and any loose bits will fall out. Then I'm just going to go over where I put the contour originally. So going back to the story, I did an EPQ, and a part of it was doing like a questionnaire to other drag queens, being like, how do you perform? Do you have any tips? Does this affect your performance? Does that affect your performance? Beaux actually did it, and so I had to look at ethics, and part of the ethics were that if the participant was under 16, you had to get parental consent, because obviously they're a child still, if that makes sense. So I obviously, being the smart person I am, I asked them, and then they were like, yeah, I'm 15, so I waited until like the day or two after their birthday to ask everyone. So that means I didn't have to get parental consent, and it made my life a lot easier. But yeah, that I don't even think I told them about that. So that's going to be surprising to them when they watch this, either the reel that I'm going to make out of it, or a short. Or TikTok maybe, I guess. Oh my god, my nose really itch. It's been itching for a while. But anyway, we live. So yeah, just kind of blending this. And then we're making the darks darker and the lights lighter. This is something I see in their makeup too. So it's not just like my drag, I guess. But I'm gonna keep going. Okay, it may be looking a little bit harsh, but we're gonna calm it down and fix it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get my powder brush and kind of get a little bit on. Then I'm just gonna tap it, and as you can see, a lot of that fell out. But I'm now gonna put that over the contour to kind of just help blend it out and kind of make everything a little bit lighter, because this is still drag, but we don't want to have everything super, super dark. So just gonna keep doing this kind of everywhere where I just put the contour. I did forget to contour my nose, but it's fine, I'll do that in a sec. Yeah, and just kind of put this everywhere where the contour was, and just kind of blend it. So before I move on to the foundation, like powder, I am just gonna quickly finish my nose. So I think their nose is quite straight. So I'm gonna dab off as much as I can. Then kind of start at the inner bit. Then just kind of go down at a slight angle. Don't worry that's really harsh now because we are gonna make it a lot smoother. Gonna do the same for the other side. And just tap everything off. There we go. I'm actually living for this. I don't know if you can see, but I am kind of just living for it. Okay, work. And then, before we move on, I am just going to do the same to make it a little bit lighter. Boosh. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm now going to grab the Maybelline Superstay 24-Hour Foundation, like, powder, and gonna sweep some of that up. And then I'm just gonna go over everywhere where I want my skin to be, and just kind of blend, especially blend this line, because you don't have to blend it too much because we are going to put blush over it, but still blend it because you don't want it to be like completely different. You don't want sharp angles where you don't want them. Do you know what I mean? And blending does really help to elevate something. So I love the fact that I don't need like as much foundation as I did compared to contour. But just make sure everything is like not harsh, if that makes sense. So go over the lines, blend them a little. And yeah, there we go. So I don't think I have a blush that is similar to what Beaux K used. So I'm kind of going to go off the rails a little bit. And now the thing is, I could either use an eyeshadow or a blush. So, okay, I'm going to take my blush. This is Blushed Matte Powder by MUA Cosmetics. And I'm going to take some, not a lot, literally dabbed it in about 3 times. And I'm going to kind of go really close to it. This is a lot, like, tighter brush, if that makes sense. Maybe a fluffier one would help. Let's get a fluffier one. Okay. And we are going to pick some more blush up. I don't know if you can see, but that's looking a bit pink. And we're just going to kind of blend. I've noticed that their kind of cheek contour goes further into their face than mine would. So I am just going to work on that. But also blend, because blending is important. So, going to do the same for this side. And then, what I think I can safely say is that the base is done. Is the base done? I think it is. I think the base is done. Okay, something I am just going to do before I do the eyes is take a highlighter that is basically white and just kind of pop it where I want the highlights to really pop, if that makes sense. Because it will make them slightly brighter. And I'm just going to use my finger for this because, to be honest, I can't be bothered to find another brush. So, there we go. And I'm just going to do that, like, down here. Kind of make them pop, and also to the nose. To be honest, I don't know if this is how it is in the reference, but it's just my personal preference, really. So, yeah, before doing the eyes, I am just going to kind of very much put more setting powder under the eye. To kind of just prevent any fallout, like, massively doing anything to the base. And then, normally I'd start with my eyebrows, but however, I'm not gonna do that now. I'm just gonna dust that off. Normally, like I was saying, I would start with my eyebrows, but because I don't know, like, how much space I'm gonna need, I'm not going to. So instead, I'm gonna kind of start with, oh, wait, that kind of orange line, if you, like, see. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to take the brush I'd normally use for eyeliner, and I'm gonna pick up the darkest brown I can find, which is this one. This is the Revolution Makeup Reloaded palette. It's the one with 45 shades, and I'm gonna take this one. And I don't know the exact placement, so I'm gonna guess. But I'm gonna kind of make it about here. And then we're gonna go up. We're gonna go up slightly past. I think that's a bit too thick, but it's fine. We're gonna blend it. We're kind of gonna go to the edge of my natural brow, if that makes sense. So my natural brow is here. I don't know if you can see that. But now we just kind of need to mirror that on the other side. But there we go. I wouldn't say that's looking horrible. So, perfect. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fluffier brush. And another reason I chose this look was because it is only like a few selection of colours. So I'm now going to take this brown, which we're getting closer to orange. But I'm going to pick up a tiny, tiny amount and just work on kind of blending the lines together, if that makes sense. And it's definitely darker towards the line. So, gonna blend. And as you can see, it really didn't take much, in my opinion. So, just gonna do that to the other one. Okay, and now I think it's time to go to the last shade, which I guess would be this one. This is quite a bright orange in my opinion. I don't know how well it's going to pick up on the camera. But anyway, we're going to blend, or pat, because I think blending kind of takes the glue off the brow, which we don't want, to be honest. That is a no. And this does kind of go into the nose contour, which I am just gonna do. And then, gonna do that to the other side, and just kind of blend everything that needs to be blended. I don't think that's bad. However, I think their look is slightly smaller, if that makes sense. So what I am just going to do is kind of maybe take the shade 104 concealer and kind of just neaten everything up. So neaten out the outer edge. Kind of make that a point. And then just make this a lot thinner compared to the other part. So there we go. That was kind of the top part of the eye. And now, what we just need to do is kind of blend this out. So I'm going to take a small beauty blender. Why has this one got green on it? Anyway, I'm going to take the smaller side and just kind of blend everything that I need to. And then kind of make this a lot smoother. And there we go. I mean, it's not as, like, orange as Beaux, but I think the shape is there, if that makes sense. Like, we have got a good shape. Okay, so now I'm going to take this Maybelline Nude palette, and we're mainly just going to focus on using the, like, browns of this palette. And I'm going to grab this brush, which is quite soft and pointy. It's kind of double-ended. And I think, looking at Beaux, I'm going to use this shade on the outer part, and then this one on the inner. So I'm going to start with the lighter part. And looking at the reference, this is quite close to here. So maybe about there, I guess. And then, obviously keep in mind that if you haven't set the concealer, it will be hard to do. So, gonna try and keep it quite angled. And then go above the brow bone. And there we go. Okay, and now I'm gonna kind of map this side out too. Just like how we did on the other. And then this would also make it a lot easier to kind of fill in. So as you can see, we've kind of got the base. I am just gonna maybe make this bit look a bit straighter. Because I think it's how my natural eyebrow goes. But it does tend to bend in the middle. So now I'm just kind of gonna go straight up. And then kind of copy this shape. But go closer to the bottom line as we go out. So, as you can see, we've kind of met at this end. And then just do the same for the other side. And yeah, so that is kind of the inner part. Now we're going to go to the darker shade and kind of start creating that, like, point that you see. I am going to neaten this up in a sec. So, it is fine, but you can just dust off the loose parts. Oh my god, why is it, like, smudged? Anyway, I'm gonna fill this in and neaten it up, then I'll be back. Okay, I've neatened it up, and not gonna lie, I am kind of living. The brows are a little bit wonky, but I just kind of got some concealer on a brush and kind of just neatened it up, if it makes sense. Like, they're looking a lot better now. However, my brows are never even. So now moving on to the lower part, I'm just gonna take a basically light concealer and kind of use this to help prep the space. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the same sponge. Don't think this is a sponge, but a brush, and kind of just pop this everywhere and kind of make it all look neat. And then I'm gonna use my finger to get rid of the big bits. And I am also gonna do it on this side because that is just a lot easier. Then just blend. And yeah, just blend everything. And then you now have a good eye base. So I think the wig cap has moved. So I'm gonna pop her back. Plop that. And then I'm going. Okay, I think I'm gonna work like top down. So the next thing I'm gonna do is kind of make this bit lighter, and I'm going to grab the highlighter and brush and kind of just dab that everywhere here so that it becomes really light and blended, because we don't want it to be like yellow, we want it to be white. There we go. And do the same here. You may have to use like a couple of swipes, but there we go. Simple. And now we are now moving onto the eye. Right, so I'm actually gonna use the technique for the eye liner. There we go. And do the same this side. I don't think that's actually bad. I don't think that's bad. So now, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take this fluffy brush and kind of just blend it. And like blend it all out. And then I'm gonna get a dark brown and kind of just blend that into it and kind of make it a little bit smoky. And there we go. We don't want it too much, but we want it enough. My phone is going off, so after I do this, I'll check that. But yeah. And I'll show you the shade in one sec. But there we go. We've now kind of got a smoky eye effect. So the shade I used was this one to do the smoky eye. Then I used this black to do the eyeliner. Okay, so I'm now gonna do the eyeliner. Wish me luck. This part looks like it comes from like here. Okay. That's too long. It's fine, we can make it work. Just hide it. And blend it. Oh my god, that is actually not... It's fine. We're gonna go over it in a sec. It's fine. I'm gonna leave them both like that because we'll fix it in a minute. Okay. Now I'm gonna do the same. That wasn't actually bad. Now I'm gonna kind of go halfway and just meet them in the middle. We are gonna neaten it up, I promise. And it's fine because the rest will be covered by a lash. There we go. So now, what I'm just gonna do to neaten it up is take a foundation, and we are gonna go back in with that sponge. But, actually I'll be back in one sec. Okay, I've now got a cotton bud and some micellar water. And we're just gonna kind of pick all of this bit that we don't want up and just make it vanish. So we have smudged it, but it is a lot thinner than what it was. Okay. There we go. Do the same here. Okay, give that a sec to dry. But now, what we are going to do is go back with that sponge or brush and the shade that is similar to your foundation. Now we're just going to pick some up, just like that, and then basically hide that we ever made a mistake. And just pat or go in with the concealer and then kind of brush that all away. And you can also do it up here if you make a mistake. There we go. But do keep in mind the eyelid mistake will be covered by a lash. Okay, and now we are just going to kind of tap and blend that all out and basically hide it. This eye's looking kind of ew, but it's fine. We're gonna just go back over with the concealer. Do this as many times as you need, but now I'm gonna take my finger and kind of just pat that whole bit down. And as you can see, that has now worked. So, something that I know Beaux K do because of the EPQ questionnaire is they put their lash on first and then their eyeliner. However, I don't do that, so I'm not going to. I'm going to do my lash last because why not? So now let's move on to the lips. Okay, from what I can see, it does just look like they have got kind of a lip gloss on. I don't know if that's a filter. So I'm going to take this Avon lip palette and we are just going to kind of, because it is quite a glossy palette, we're just going to use that. So their lips are kind of like here, and then down, and mine, to be honest, I'm just going to do my natural drag lip because it has kind of gone into that. So yeah, now I'm gonna, so I use that shade. Now I'm going to take kind of, I don't know what one, maybe this one because it is their lips quite pink. So I'm gonna take this one and reapply it because I don't know what side I put it on. And then just brush it all on. That isn't like kind of the right colour, I guess. So I'm gonna take a red lip gloss. This was clear, but I didn't. So I used to put lipstick on, then gloss, but I didn't wipe it. So every time the red has just gotten into the lipstick or gloss and made it pink. But I think that has actually worked quite well. Okay. Work. So I'm now gonna grab a setting spray and kind of just spray it until it's less of a squirt. There we go. And now just set my face. Why did I do it with an open mouth? There we go. And now I'm going to put a lash on off camera and then I'll be back. Actually, I'm going to put a lash on and a wig. I'll be back then. Okay, so let me get up the inspiration. So, the few things I'll change. Firstly, I'd actually sort this out, but I'm not going to. Secondly, I'd make the eyebrows a lot darker. The lips, the lips are a slightly different colour, but it's not that deep. Obviously, they've got an orange wig, I've got a ginger because I don't have orange, to be honest. But yeah, overall, I'm actually quite proud of this. Personally, I would make the contour a little bit darker. but I'm not that mad. Like I'm kind of living, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah, I'm actually really proud of this look, and there's definitely going to be more videos like this because I do enjoy making them. I've got a list in my notes, so yeah, we're gonna see that. Gonna work through that too. Um, but yeah, I really like this eye situation. I really like it. It's quite simple, but it's effective. You know, the contour I would make a bit dark. I've already said, but yeah, that's about it. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe, and comment if you want. That's the other thing. And yeah, check out my Instagram and TikTok. So hope to see you over there. Hope to see you in the next one, and bye bye.